Okay, so if I could invite my 3 couples up right now, let's give them a round of applause. They're a little nervous. Let's ask them up. Do you know where the whiteboards are? They're back here somewhere? Behind my chair. Okay, this is going to be awesome. Today we're going to be doing something. I just bent over in front of everybody. That's funny. Are you guys ready to laugh? You guys ready to laugh? You guys ready to have a good time? Everybody seems a little nervous. Shake it out. Shake it out. It's going to be fun. How you doing? Nobody wants to sit next to me. Isn't that funny? Nobody wants to sit close to the pastor. That's fine. It's like the teacher, you know? Okay, so everybody gets a whiteboard and a marker. Okay. You might want to sit next to your wife. So what I'd like you to do, okay. Are you guys nervous?
Not at all. Oh my God.
Okay, so what you guys can do, did you guys know you were up on the screen too? Isn't that awesome? Anyways, so what you guys can do is we're going to have a number up on the screen. On which screen? It's going to be right here. There's a number that you can text in your marriage questions, okay? And they're going to come straight to my phone, but I will not know who it is, okay? And yes, I'm going to filter out. I've already had a few people, Brady over here, say he's going to text me some funny ones. I told you I'd call you out in the middle of the service someday. I finally did. We're an Ohio State shirt, that's fine. Text in your questions. They're going to be totally anonymous. I will not know what they are, but we will ask those to our lovely panel. So I'm going to sit down, and first, it feels good to sit on stage. Well, you guys will start down here and just kind of introduce yourself and how long y'all been married.
Good?
Yeah, hot
All right,
mic.
so I am Brady Streitenberger,
And I am Megan Streitenberger.
and we've been married 5 whole years.
Yay! Yay! Okay.
I'm Emily King,
I'm Wayne King.
and we've been married 45 years.
45. Is it on?
We're not smart enough to figure it out.
Is it on? Yeah, it's on.
I'm Sarah. This is Kyler.
And we've been married for 18 years.
18 years, awesome. Okay, so what I figured we would do first to kind of like, I feel like I have to turn all over here, but to kind of like ease their nerves a little bit is I want to ask them some newlywed game type questions. And we will see how well you all know each other, okay? So for the guys, you have to guess what she's going to say. And don't look at what she writes, okay? And you have to write, okay, so the question is, what is the best present he ever gave you? What is the best present he ever gave you? Don't look at each other's stuff. Don't share it. But, guys, you are guessing what she's going to write. So go ahead.
Can it be cheesy?
It can be cheesy. It can be whatever you want it to be. I think I want to be a show host. I think this is my future calling. I really like this. Hopefully we don't have like a Maury show or Jerry Springer situation happen. But paternity test says you are still the father. Anyways, I'm unhinged. I'm unhinged. I don't have notes. Who knows what's going to happen? I might get fired after today. Who knows? I'm kidding. Okay, best present he ever gave you, 2 daughters. Isn't that precious? What'd you say, Kyler?
That's what I said.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it.
Oh, I didn't write it down. My bad.
Oh, you gotta write it down.
I'm really nervous.
This is gonna go well. Okay, 2 daughters. Emily, what'd you say? Good job.
I put a gold bracelet.
Use the mic
sorry,
if you don't mind.
It was a gold bracelet early in our marriage that he had engraved
Yeah.
with a nice little message that I've always really loved.
Okay, great. What'd you say, Wayne?
I missed that one.
What'd you say? 2 children. Okay, all right.
Them too.
Okay, what'd you say, Megan?
I said our daughter.
And Brady, you said? Lily, oh, that's good. Okay, so did you really say kids, Kyler?
No.
Okay, so this is actually, we're playing for points, and Megan and Brady are winning. So you guys are the newest couple, or the youngest couple. That's awesome. Okay, second question. Are you ready?
We cannot get beat out by the baby.
It can't beat out. Yeah, okay. Guys, she just won the lottery. What is her first purchase? Don't show each other. She just won the lottery. What is her first purchase? And then, ladies, you write down what your first purchase is.
He's right beside me, and I'm a cheater.
And don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. You have to use the mic too, because they can't hear you as well as I can. And also, text in your questions now. Like, as you guys are sitting there, please think of questions and text in questions. If you don't text in questions, we have nothing to talk about, so. Okay, are you guys ready? Megan and Brady? You're not ready yet? Okay.
We just have to write something down.
Just write something down. Don't overthink it. It's okay. This is
He's not going to get this one.
okay, that's fine. Kyler, what'd you say? What'd you say for Sarah?
It's not very expensive, but I said a dog.
A dog? Kids a dog?
No,
Oh, okay. Oh, you just use your fingers. Yeah, wipe that off. A dog. Okay, you say dog. One wins the lottery, wins the dog.
I'm going to Bora Bora.
Bora Bora. Okay. Okay, we're really working on each other today. Where's Bora Bora at?
I don't know, but it looks pretty on Pinterest.
Okay. It looks pretty on Pinterest. Okay. Wayne and Emily, what'd you guys say? Emily, what'd you say? What would you buy? First thing you win the lottery. Of course, you're not playing the lottery. This is all pretend, right? Go ahead.
A trip to Italy and, oh, sorry.
Yep, use the
A
mic.
trip to Italy and Greece.
Okay, Mr. King.
I put remodel house again.
Okay. All right, come on, young couple. What do you guys got?
I said a trip to Aruba.
Aruba? Aruba, Aruba.
That's my dreams list.
And I said a new car
A new car, okay.
that we could go to Aruba in.
Okay, that's great. Can you drive to Aruba? I don't think you can. Geography was not taught in this county. Okay, questions are coming in. Thank you. Keep the questions coming in. And then this is the last question. This is a slam dunk question. This is a slam dunk. If you don't get this, I don't know. Okay, here we go. Don't look at them now, but what color are your spouse's eyes? Yes. Is everybody ready?
Is this what you were called?
Megan's writing a book over here. Blue, green, how can you still be writing? How can you still be writing? All right, what did you say?
Brownish greenish.
Brownish
Just a
green?
bit.
What did you write, Brady?
Wait, I thought I was guessing her eyes.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. That's what I
Okay,
meant to
so
say.
hers are brown.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is that right for you?
Yeah.
Good job. All right. You guys?
His are brown.
Brown? What color are your eyes?
I asked her yesterday. Hers are aqua.
Aqua. Okay, aqua.
I said blue, green.
Is that right?
I don't know if there's any green in them, but they do have blue, so we're going
Okay.
to give it to them.
Okay, we'll give you a point for that.
They're like hazel.
Okay, and were you right?
Yes, I'm
Hazel? The hazel? Okay. I think that's just brown. But anyway, there's a twinkle in your eye. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said, you guys are going to text in questions. Please keep them coming in. And we're going to ask this panel some questions. I mean, they've been married for, how long you guys are married?
18 years.
18 years, 45 years, and 5 years. And so we tried to get a good mix of ages. And these people have some great wisdom and not perfect, obviously, but this series has been awesome. And we've had so much great feedback that I felt like, let's just sit and have a conversation and hear from our people on some questions that you might have so we can address those directly. So let's go to the questions. You guys ready?
No.
You guys are ready. Yes, you are. Why is healthy communication such a consistent challenge for married couples? Why is healthy communication a challenge for married couples? And how do you fix it? Go. You don't have to write it down, Wayne. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to write it
So
down.
luckily this
You're
was
done
on-
with the whiteboards. Done
Luckily,
with the
this
whiteboards.
was on the study guide that we prepared for.
Yes. Teacher.
So we just feel like, our society is just flooded with instant, quick communication, whether it's a text or whether it's social media. So we genuinely try, and it's kind of old school. We do dinner at either our bar or our kitchen table every night. We don't do phones during dinner. Don't do TV during dinner. And we try to, after Lily goes to bed, like I said, it's not always very good at it, but try to, just genuinely ask each other about the day, even if we have texted and we knew something was going on, because we think that's really important. Thoughts?
No, I would agree with that. Every night we always ask each other, what's the best part of your day?
Mm-hmm.
We even ask our 3-year-old, and she'll tell us. So I think it's important to include her, too, about her day and both of our day, especially because... Oh, you do?
I was just going to say you can tell she's nervous because Lily's only 2.
Yeah.
Well, she's almost 3.
Yeah.
But we both work full time. Lily's
Yeah.
at the babysitter full time. So in the evenings, we just get a couple hours before bed, and that's all we get through the week. So
Right. Okay. What about you guys, Wayne and Emily? How do you maintain healthy communication in the midst of the busyness of life?
Well, it's easier now. We're both retired, but we all have little odd jobs, so we're still kind of working. But we do talk a lot more, especially in the evening, and he's in a much better mood now that he's not working full time. So
She is right, yeah.
yeah, so that's been a huge improvement. But after you've been together this long, you kind of know what your spouse is thinking sometimes. And then again, not always.
Right.
Yeah, she's absolutely right in that I don't work with the public anymore on a daily basis. It's much easier to come home and talk, because when I was working, I didn't want to talk to anybody when I got home.
Right. Yeah, I get that, yeah. What about you guys?
I'm in the same boat as him, I guess. I've got a lot going on, and I talk to a million people, it feels like, every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I get home, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
And but we always, like, no matter what's going on, the craziness, we always sit down and eat together. It's never at home. We eat out every meal. But we always sit down as a family and talk and ask about how our days are, and that's usually our biggest communication of the day.
Yeah.
And then I try to, when it's, she goes to bed super early, and I go
Yeah.
to bed, like, I don't sleep much.
What's early?
I don't.
Well, in the summertime she doesn't, but like
Yeah.
during school
School
she goes
year.
to bed at like 9 or
'Cause
10.
you're
I go to
10:30?
bed- I go to bed at 2.
2?
Yeah, so it's like,
Wow.
so
I haven't seen 2 a.m. in a long
sometimes
time.
I go and try to talk to her when she's like reading or
Yeah.
whatever, and
Right.
she's like, go downstairs, you're annoying me.
Yeah,
And,
right.
So
He tries to go talk to her.
yeah,
Anyways.
yeah, like you said. So
Sorry.
Anyway.
I'm trying to get you to blush, but okay.
And plus, I like to, throughout the day, I like to send pictures of like a double chin picture. I just text them during the day.
So you guys have a lot of just talking throughout the day. And,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Good. Someone did text in, which child is your favorite? So I'm guessing that's probably one of your two. So don't answer the question, because they're obvious. See, there they are right there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Brady, you can answer that. Here's a good question. Thank you guys for the texts that are coming in. We probably are not going to get to all of them, but there's a whole bunch. You guys can set down the whiteboards if you want, so you feel more comfortable. Do you like it? Okay, I'll let you hold on to it. Okay, here's a good question. What's something that you had to overcome at the start of your marriage, and how did you work through that together? Something that you had to overcome at the beginning of your marriage. How did you guys as a partnership get over that? Not get over, but how did you work through that together? They were not given these questions, obviously, beforehand, so give them a second. Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
So early in our marriage, Megan was pretty adamant that she didn't want any kids, and that was hard for me because I
Yeah.
really wanted a big family. But I think, even though we've only been married 5 years, you look back, we've learned an awful lot in 5 years. So obviously, Megan decided that she did, and we did have one so far. The first thing that came to my mind was a big hurdle for us early on was the doctors told us that they thought Lily was going to have Down syndrome.
Wow.
And gosh, we cried a lot, prayed a lot, but it really taught us to trust.
It's good. It's good. Anybody else? We have tissues somewhere. Let me get your wife some tissues right there. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry today. It's okay, right? What about anybody else? Something early on in marriage that you had to work through, and how'd you get through it?
Emily has spent most of her life involved in music, and believe it or not, I have a little music ability and experience, but I think we had to work she enjoyed that, and that was not what she anticipated living in rural America, even though she grew up in the country. She had no intention of marrying a farmer.
Right.
It took 10 years, but I proved her right. She didn't marry a farmer.
Yeah.
Ours was probably when our kids, when we had 2 kids like super quick. They're 10.5 months apart. So we decided that we wanted her to stay home with them, and I would work. She would work at the home, and probably the finances were probably the thing that was the hardest for us, because I wasn't very smart, and I said, just you put everything on a credit card, and then I'll pay for it when it, at the end of the month. Well, at the end of the month, we used I would
Target.
like.
It was Target. The clearance aisles. I get so
Use the mic.
excited.
Use the mic. Use the mic.
So excited for Target.
So, every month when the credit card bill came, I threw the mail across the kitchen and yelled and was like, I've always been one where I want to pay my bills every month. I did, but it stretched us out.
It's always a sad time when you are excited and you hope that somebody stole your credit card, but
Right.
really then you look and you're like,
Right.
oh no, that was just me. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
So that was probably the hardest thing for us. But then, we came up with we never really sat down and did a real hard budget. We came up with a budget, and I remember we took all of her credit cards. I never had any.
Yeah.
And, we took all of her credit cards and we threw them in the fireplace, and we never once had another argument about finances since then.
That's good.
Ramsey. It was Dave Ramsey.
Can you use the mic? Can you share the mic? Sorry.
not
It was
sharing.
texted in. Someone asked, can Sarah please use the mic?
Dave Ramsey
Who's
ruined
Dave?
my life.
Yes, but he's good though. How many people have said that? So when Kirsten and I first got married, we got on the Dave Ramsey train, and Dave Ramsey has the envelopes with cash, and every time we would make a decision, we'd always be like, well, what would Dave do? And then we would end up buying the thing anyways, but yeah. Great answers, by the way. Great answers, guys. Here's another question. How do you protect or prioritize each other after having kids? How do you protect y'all's time? Man, Fayette County. How do you protect your time together when you have kids?
When we got married, we waited 3 years to have our first child, and I think I was more on board with it than he was. Well, after our son was born, I was just so infatuated with him. I spent a lot of time with him, and I think it hurt him a little bit. Mm-hmm. He had to get used to there being another person that was the center of my world.
Yeah. So how did you protect, though? Like, how do you protect the marriage while you have kids?
Well, we did talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it got better.
Yeah.
I mean, he got more used to being a father, and
Right.
I tried to be more patient and loving with him so that he didn't feel left out.
Right.
Emily and I discussed this, and we think it's important when you're young and have children not to devote 100% of your time to your children, to devote a little bit of time specifically to each other, whether that be date night, once a week, once a month, whatever fits, and it doesn't have to be anything expensive.
Right.
Or the other thing we think is important is to have a circle of friends to socialize with, maybe without the children one night a week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So we actually do date night frequently, but a lot of our friends are the same age as us. They all have kids the same age as us, which is nice. But we're also fortunate we have grandparents on both sides that are close to us, and I know not everybody has that, but they would love to have time with her, and we're thankful that she does get that time with them. So she gets time with family, and then we get our alone time as well. Also, too, bedtime after we put Lily to bed is kind of our time to just be with each other. Lily doesn't sleep with us. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it is nice that she sleeps in her room every single night. We have that time to ourselves, and she's not interrupting us. So.
And I will say I had a wise barber when we first got married, who said, you have to make time, you have to make date night. And I've always been, I've always admired that about Sarah and Kyler is, it's Mama DeSalvo's
Yeah.
on a Saturday night, but they take that time.
It's like every day. At Mama DeSalvo's, at Mama DeSalvo's.
But we also, I remember having a really conscious conversation that we felt like the best way for Lily to learn was to see it through us, to see us loving each other, to see us still holding hands, just be a good example.
That's good.
The same. We've always, ever since our kids were born,
So how old were you when your kids were born?
I don't know, like 12.
You guys were really young. Edit that part out. They were not 12.
No,
Okay.
I'm kidding. Yes, sir.
For the people that will watch
I don't
this,
know, we were
yeah.
young.
Married at 19, and had our first at 21, and then our second at 22.
Did you hear someone go, shoo?
Yeah.
But we've always, since the beginning, and I used to always worry that, man, people are going to think that we just push our kids off on our parents
Sure.
and go out all the time. But it's always been important for us, and we still do at least one night a week. And I'm not saying we've never missed a week, but one night a week, we always now they're like, where are we going for dinner? I'm like, well, me and Mom are going down to the cake. You
That's
guys are staying
awesome.
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
If it's just here in town, you'd like to, a lot of times on the weekends, at least one night, go just the two of us somewhere. And to me,
Yeah.
that's important because we can sit down and just completely talk about our relationship, the kids, just whatever.
Yeah.
Just the two of us.
That's great. So what would you suggest to someone who's from out of town, who has a young son, doesn't have family here? What would you recommend?
Call my daughters. They
Call
work
the,
for cheap,
okay. I'm just asking for a friend, so, okay, great.
I hear they clean your house.
That was a
for that.
shameless plug. If anybody wants to watch my son, so my wife and I have date night. He's great. He's great for at least 5 minutes, so I'm just kidding. Okay, next question. You guys are asking amazing questions, by the way. Well, someone wants to know, when will Sarah get a dog? So that's a great
question.
That's a great question.
It's agreed upon when I die that she's replacing me with the dog.
Okay, great. What kind of dog would it be?
A big one.
A big one.
A big one.
Okay, here's a great question. Same person. What's the best way to balance work and home life? How do you balance work and home life? Is there such thing as balance?
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you balance work and home life? Who wants to tackle that?
I think the word balance is thrown around a lot, and it's really, I don't know that it's ever completely possible. I think you just find what works for you. Like, for example, Megan does like to go to bed early, 9:30-ish, unless The Bachelor's on.
Oh, my gosh.
So, when I was going through and getting my master's degree, I did a lot of that work in the evening once she went to bed. And it just kind of worked for us. But, we're kind of nerdy. We have a shared Google Calendar that, if something's not in there, we know it's free to schedule something there. And sometimes we have those, it's not on the calendar, conversations. But, I just think it's finding something that works for you, whether it's a chalkboard that you write what's going on for the week or something. I think it's just communication.
Communication. Communicate, yeah. What did the Kings say? What do you guys think?
For about 18 years when I was still teaching, I was pretty committed to a position in the evening that required rehearsals Monday through Thursday. So that went on for 4 months. That's a pretty long haul. And he learned how to do laundry.
Mm-hmm. Hey!
And apply stain remover, too.
I still don't do that, but yeah.
So, it's a balance of, he still does some laundry if he has some particularly dirty clothes that he doesn't want me to have to mess with. But I think he just really took over that job. I didn't even ask him to do it, and it was such a big help to not have, 3 piles of laundry. And this is still while our 2 children were in junior high and high school that I did this. So I think you just have to help out each other whenever, it's called for.
That's good.
That's what it boils down to.
Mr. Wayne? Good. She covered it. Okay. Kelly's?
We don't have balance.
Our
Let's talk about
balance
it.
is tough.
We're being real? Yeah.
Is this on?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. You just got to get closer to it.
I used to think I was busy, a couple years ago, and then I decided to open a pizza shop and a food truck, and now I feel like I'm just a little bit crazy busy. But like I say, we always we always, like, no matter what I'm doing, I always tell, like, any of the guys that work for me or anything, like, dude, I gotta leave.
Right.
I gotta go eat with my family, and then we'll come up with pizza of the week or whatever.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing until 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
But,
gotcha.
But the biggest part about that is having an understanding wife. And I tell
Yeah.
people that all the time, that, like, there's probably a million women that probably divorced me by now. 'Cause,
Right.
like, am addicted to working, and
Yeah.
she always supports me, though, in whatever I do, because she knows that if I'm not, like, doing something productive, I'm not happy.
Right.
And so
Sarah,
I don't know if there's good balance in that, but she's amazing.
right. So Sarah, when he is, just working, how do you approach that conversation with him and say, hey, our work-life balance is a little out of sync? How do you approach that?
Well, I don't know. I feel like he's always been like a busybody. He's
Sure.
always been on the move, and I don't approach it really.
Yeah.
I just don't really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what he does,
Right.
and I think he could be doing a lot worse things with his time.
Sure.
He could be spending his time
Right.
doing other things that I would not really appreciate.
Yeah.
And since he's doing something that he enjoys and it keeps him motivated to do whatever he wants to do, have at it.
Right. So my wife and I are coming off like 17 or 18 nights straight of doing something. And so being in ministry, we could do something every single night. And we have, and so my wife will approach me and just kind of be like, I need a night off, And so I think, like the Streitenbergers are talking about, the communication piece is huge, and having that time set aside to be able to be alone. And you guys go on vacations and stuff too. I saw you guys go on vacations and
That's
stuff
what,
like that. So
I'm was supposed to leave right after this to go to a food show and stay
Yeah.
the night and stuff. And I literally, while we were singing, I shouldn't have done it, but I texted
While you were singing?
my food
That's
rep,
fine.
and I just told him, I said, man, like, I've had a really long
Yeah.
stretch here since vacation. I said,
Yeah.
I can't come today. I
Right.
really need to spend time
Yeah.
with my family.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of balanced.
And it's
So.
protecting that time because, people are not going to protect your time for you.
Right.
And I said this when I first came here, and I'll say it again. Like, I can't sacrifice my family for the church and for you guys. Like, I'm just not going to lose my wife and my son for ministry. I just can't do that. And hopefully you guys appreciate that. And so, yeah, it's protecting that time, which is huge. Good answers, guys. That's good. Another question. How long have you been attending the church, and how has it improved your marriage or helped your marriage? How long have you been going? How has it improved your marriage?
14. How old am I? 38.
I don't know.
22 years.
Go ahead, guys. Talking to the mic.
So we've been coming together our whole marriage, a little bit before when we were still engaged. I think it's just, we talked about how, we made Sunday a priority. Lily knows on Sunday it's the day that we go to church. We feel like it's the day that we can kind of fill our cups up and then kind of pour out the rest of the week. And if we don't get it filled, then we're running a little thin. So it's a priority. It has to be.
Yeah.
I feel like it's been more of a priority for us since we had Lily, just because we want to set an example for her.
Right.
We still attended prior to and everything, but there might be weekends where we were out late with friends, and we decided to sleep in, but now that's not really an option, or maybe we're just kind of outgrown in that phase of our life. But I really think that it's been more so since we had a child. So.
Cool.
We're kind of new to Crossroads. We've been coming here about 2 years, but we just fell in love with the church and with the people. We felt so welcomed here, and we just love everything about coming here. We have a lot of good friends that come here, and I do think it has enhanced our marriage. He is much more willing to come to church now because he enjoys seeing the people, and that's important to me. I've always gone to church because I was raised going to church, and many times in our prior church I went alone, and so this has been great for us to be able to do this together.
It's great. It's good. Man, a few words.
I've been coming here for 30 years, actually. I was
Wow.
in second grade when we started coming here. And then Sarah, I started coming when we started dating when we were 14. So,
Oh, that's great. Dating when you're 14.
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So, I don't remember the rest of the question, but that's how long we've
That's
been
good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, we've been coming here forever, so
How's
through
the
the
church
old
help?
church
Yeah.
and through, there have been valleys
Yeah.
coming to the church, and
Mm-hmm.
there have been peaks coming to the church. I think overall, it's we just mainly put our focus on God,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps us just get through anything that is going on. Even when we are having a rough time
Yeah.
and we feel like we're not going to do this anymore, it just continues on with faith through coming.
Cool.
Say one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's what getting with her with the peaks and valleys. Like, there's always going to be peaks and valleys at church, and I
Yeah.
don't know why it feels important to say this, but
Yeah.
like, there has been a few times in our lives that we came here for all this long that we've thought about maybe we should go somewhere else, maybe we should try another church, you know. And when sometimes when I feel like that you do that, we're being selfish, and it's not about us, it's about God. And I consider everybody that comes to church my family, and we've said this many times, is like, you don't abandon your family.
Right.
And so we feel the same way about our church family.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you for that. That's awesome. That's great. Great answer. Okay, so some dating questions. Can you guys remember back to dating? All the way back to dating? Okay. How do you date in a way that honors God, i.e., physical boundaries? How do you don't have to disclose your whole personal history with all that, but how do you maintain, like, how do you have a godly relationship without, because, like, in our society today, it's very much you just have sex before you're married. Like, that's just what you do. So as, you know, believers and followers of Christ, we believe that that is a gift that is for marriage. So what advice would you give to people today that are dating and want to wait before to celebrate that in marriage? What advice would you give?
Nobody wants to answer this one.
Crickets. Okay.
So I think the first thing you have to acknowledge is that, I mean, it's really, really difficult. It's, you know,
Right.
it's,
Well, I had Kirsten coming after me all the time. She was just always.
Kirsten, do you want the mic?
She can't defend herself, so I can say whatever I want.
But I think it's, you know, it's communication. You know, I think it's, you know, we've talked about, you know, how it is. It's really, really important, and it's not the norm anymore. And so it's, you know, wanting to be a little bit different is okay, and it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is a challenge.
It's real. It's not like something
Yeah.
you can just say, oh, it's no big deal, and just kind of brush it under the rug. So.
What do you think? What is some advice that you give to people who are dating now? They're trying to protect that. Go ahead.
Whether it be a first date or a steady dating program, you must respect the other person. And if you don't respect them, then you're probably not doing your part.
Good.
Having two teenage daughters, this is a conversation.
I was gonna
that
say
is-
you better have some good advice right here.
that,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a difficult thing. It takes communication. You need to talk to your friend, have conversations with them. I tell my girls that, you know, every gift you give away, be it hand-holding, your first hand-holding experience, your first kiss, whatever, it's something you give away, you can't get back. So you need to actually, you know, really put a thought
Yeah.
and prayer and conscious effort into whatever.
Right.
And I threaten their boyfriends.
Threaten the boyfriends. That's right. That's right. Man. And I think also, you know, setting up just boundaries with your significant other in your dating relationship and just say, this is a line that we're just not going to cross. My mom said this, and I think it's so true. You know, nothing good happens after midnight. you know. And so we, in our relationships, you know, Kirsten and I in our relationship is like, we just can't be together after midnight. It's not going to be a good thing. And so I think having those type of boundaries, you know, and just maybe even spelling it out, like writing it out, like we are not going to be together in this way. We're going to wait. And I think those are some other things. And we had like some good married couples that kind of took us under their wing. And so I think if you're dating or if you're engaged or whatever, I think having people like married couples to mentor you would be a good thing. Maybe that's something we should start here at Crossroads, as a marriage mentorship. I just thought of that as we were up here. Okay, let me ask you this question. How do you handle child discipline when you have different thoughts on the approach?
Oh, I'm good. Barbara's way of discipline is, oh, you're so cute, you sweet little thing, you do whatever you want.
Two daughters.
Two
I
daughters,
understand that, yeah.
and he just can't do it.
Yep.
He just can't do it.
Yep.
So
how do you handle that?
So how we handle it is, I say, buddy, you sit over there because I'm going to take care of this. And that's how that works out.
I think
She usually goes in for the attack.
Yeah.
And then I'm the one that lays in bed with him and says,
good
you
cop,
know,
bad cop is
you
the
know,
routine.
like, this is what mom really meant in a nice, calm voice.
Yeah.
You know, I love you. You're beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
That's the way discipline goes at our house.
Okay. What about you guys?
I did not ever have a problem disciplining our son or our daughter.
Yeah.
That was, and
Did you guys have different approaches?
yes,
Okay, let's talk about the different approaches.
I was pretty much in their face right now.
Yeah.
The one thing Emily was good about was in front of the children, we always supported each other. Now, 30 minutes later in private, I probably was told how wrong I was,
Right.
but not in front of the children.
Right.
And I think support like that is important.
Yeah, that's huge. I think what you just said there is so big, is that in front of the kids, you guys were a united front, a united couple. And that was something that I always say this every week, but hopefully my parents don't see this. But that was just something that I never got to see. Like my wife said, she's never really seen her parents fight. And I'm like, what is that like? You know, I saw them fight all the time, and you know, they would never be on the same page. And so I always knew I could get away with whatever I wanted, because if I didn't get what I want from my dad, I go to my mom. So, anyways, what about now? Lily is what? How old?
She'll be 3 in
That's right.
3 weeks.
That's right.
4 weeks.
All right.
3, 4 weeks.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would definitely say Brady does a lot of the discipline.
Yeah.
But if I do discipline her, which I will discipline her, but sometimes
What does discipline look like for a 3-year-old?
Time out.
Time out.
Time out, yeah. And then we're really good with like talking her through it. We kind of like let her know, like, Lily, this is not okay. Explain to her why it's not okay. You know, she cries. We'll put her in timeout, let her cry. I mean, sometimes that's just what you have to do. Let her kind of
Right.
calm down, get through the emotions, and then have a talk with her. But we definitely, if I am mad at her or put her in timeout, you know, whatever, Brady's always backs me up and vice versa. Like, it's not like, well, just put her in there for a couple minutes, or no, like I said, 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes.
Right.
So I think that's really important to not go back and forth between the two. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so far it seemed to work, so.
That's great.
And I think, you know, when you're in the moment, like you might want to say, oh, you know, you're pretty cute. You know, kind of the, I get you, Kyler. But, you know, I just think, you know, you have to look bigger picture, and, you know, you see so much, you know, disrespect and, you know, kids not, you know, respecting their parents. So it's tough in the moment, but, you know, you don't want to have to deal with that later. Not saying we won't, but
Right.
just trying to think the bigger picture.
All right, that's good. And the united front, and kind of talking about how you're going to discipline. Kirsten and I hadn't really talked about it, and then like one day I may have smacked Barrett's hand, and we were like, oh, we haven't talked about how we're going to handle this situation. So talking through it is huge. So, okay, cool. The last part of this text says OH, and I'm not going to do that. I have a feeling I know who it is. When was the last time you had well, maybe you don't have to. Okay. When was the last time you had a knockdown, drag-out fight? How did you work through it? So how did you work through fights? How do you fight fair? Those two questions. Like, how do you fight fair? How do you work through a fight?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm a really non-confrontational person. But when we have disagreements, I don't want to go to bed upset. I want to solve it right there. And Megan is, when she's like a little teapot, all steamed up, you got to back up a little bit. So she's a cute teapot, though.
Yeah.
So did I recover? Okay there? So, that was the compromise early on is, when we would disagree about something, I would want to talk it out right then. And she would say, Brady, I don't want to. And I would say, but I want to. And she would say, but I don't want to. But, it's a little compromise. She's, there's times that, she'll talk about something when it happens. And there's times that I realize like, hey, we'll talk about this tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. And I think the biggest thing is, when she does something that hurts me or upsets me or vice versa, I know that wasn't her intention. She's never going to have the intent to try to hurt me or upset me on purpose. So maybe I interpreted something wrong, but it's kind of stepping back and really thinking things through. So.
That's great.
But, I mean, it wasn't that way from the start. So that's.
Changed after Lily, I feel like. After we had Lily, I feel like it changed more so because we make it a point we'd never raise our voices towards each other in front of her. We never say anything negative. There's times I want to say, man, I could really just slap you right now. But I never make it a point to say that out loud. Or, I just kind of keep it to myself and let it go, and then we work through it. But he is right. I get mad and I kind of shut down and I need my time to kind of think about it. And he's complete opposite. He wants it fixed at that very moment. And so we've just tried to work through it.
That's great. What other advice would you guys give? The 45 years, I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say.
When we have a disagreement and we don't argue, we don't yell, we just don't talk to each other for a couple of days.
Okay.
Now, that's very immature, I grant you, but you know what? I've never had to apologize for saying something in haste because I didn't say it.
Sure. So that's good, yeah. So in our premarital counseling that Kirsten and I do, because Kirsten and I have had a couple fights once or twice, and we teach taking a time out. If you're getting heated in a fight, take a 30-minute break. So basically what you're saying is you guys just have an extended break, right? Instead of getting in the heated moment, you just take an extended break.
Yeah, I can always tell when he's sorry because he starts doing things for me around the house.
Yes.
And then at that point, I know it's okay to talk about it.
Right.
And because by then we're all calmed down and
right. 9 times out of 10, once Kirsten and I take the break, I have no idea what we were fighting about. No idea. Okay, what about you guys?
We were just sitting here when was the last time we had, we can't think of anything because,
You guys don't fight at all?
Well, no, we do.
Okay,
but here's the thing is, and this is what I absolutely love about my wife, is that my wife has no filter. So,
yes, that's
she
awesome.
says exactly what she thinks about everything.
Yep.
And some people love that about her, some people hate that about her, but anyway,
awesome.
I feel like we don't argue because if I do something wrong, she doesn't ever let anything bottle up inside her. She tells me on a daily basis what,
yeah. Here it is.
And so, sometimes, I'm just yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
And then sometimes I just am I let her vent and I go on my way about things.
Yeah.
I'm not a very confrontational person either.
You're not a confrontational person?
No.
So next time I get my hair
really
cut.
mad. Every once in a while, I get once or twice a year, I get really mad about something.
Okay, once or twice a year.
Yeah, but I'm usually over it within 15 minutes.
Cool. That's awesome. Very laid back.
But yeah.
So Sarah, how do you fight fair?
I don't.
Okay. Okay, great. Yep.
Being real, I don't.
Use the mic. Yep.
I just spit it all out,
Yep.
and then I laugh.
Okay.
At the end.
I think we're a lot alike in this. I just kind of pepper. Yeah. Okay.
Did you hear everything I said? Okay, good.
Okay.
Now let's move on.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
how I
over it now.
Right.
I said everything. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Not fair, but it's how I roll.
Great. Okay, so kids, Plug your ears.
My kids are in this room.
I know. It's tough. This is stuff. Sorry. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. Everybody's like
skip that
nervous.
question.
I'm not skipping it. It's going to be great. Because it's an important question. It's an
Next
important
question.
Next question. You don't have to answer if you have people here. Students, I mean. But I'm trying to think of how to word it. Why is intimacy... You know what I'm saying by intimacy, you guys? Wayne has a confused look on his face. Okay, you were good? Okay. Why is intimacy, I can feel your guys' nervousness, that's awesome. Why is intimacy important in a marriage, and how do you make time for that when you have children? I think I phrased that fairly good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah, because
Okay.
intimacy can be having your hand around your wife on the couch watching TV.
I'm talking about not that type of, I'm talking about.
So I was trying to deflect. Thank you, Adam.
Sorry.
So I
a
think
little Barry White on.
whether you
Anyways.
are holding hands or more than holding hands,
Yeah.
I think it's important because that's another way to connect with your spouse.
Right.
That is, that's something that only you and your spouse
Yep.
can connect that way. So it's taking advantage of the way to connect with each other so that you are connected. Because if you're not connected, your marriage won't
Yeah.
blossom. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I agree.
I think so.
Yeah. Megan, what do you think?
Same.
I mean, same.
Okay. What do you guys think?
What?
See, all the men are talking about why it's important. That's what's interesting to me.
I just think for a relationship, it's just the icing on the cake, and you need to make time for it.
Yeah.
If God made anything better, I haven't seen it yet.
That's so true. Amen. Amen. All the men said, amen. All right. All right. Gotta make time for it. Yes, you do. So do you like just practically, do you just like schedule it? Like, hey, Friday, let's be honest. Are we not being real?
Kirsten, do you want the mic?
My wife's
Brady,
just
is it on
like,
your Google Calendar?
yeah, it's in our Google Calendar.
Yeah.
That should be in your Google
Is
Calendar.
not- no. I think communication is important.
That's good. I love how you answer questions.
Communication is important whether you're scheduling a dinner date or an after dinner date.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think it is when you're connected, when you have communicated, whether it's been a few days since you went to dinner
Yeah.
or it's been longer since you went to dinner.
Yeah.
I think both
Going to dinner.
people
is
know that
important.
when you're hungry, you need to eat.
Yeah. We need to start referring to that as go to dinner. We need to go to dinner. Hopefully we can go to dinner
We really
tonight.
do go
Anyways.
to dinner, just for my daughter's sake.
Oh, I'm dead after this. Okay. Kelly's?
My daughters are in here. I'm not giving up any of my secrets.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
And parents.
Okay.
Just try to make time
and
for it.
parents. Oh, your parents are in
Oh
here
yeah,
too.
hi mom, hi dad.
Yeah. That's fine. It's natural. Okay. So we're getting at 11:30 here. So we're going to wrap it up. So I want to wrap it up with one last question. Okay? If you could imagine, you could go back to yourself and talk to yourself the day before your wedding. You have 1 minute to give yourself advice. Okay? So this coffee table is a time machine. You go back to the day before your wedding. You have 1 minute to give yourself advice for your future marriage. What would you say? That's a Nick question. Nick said that would be a great question. So blame Nick for that. That's a great question. So what piece of advice would you give yourself before you got married? Because there may be some people here that could benefit from that advice. What would you say? Okay, go ahead.
There's a good whistler in here somewhere.
Thank you.
I think it would just be, to buckle up and get ready because it's it's real. I think when we first got married, it has that facade of, oh, you're married and newlyweds. But I think, that everything's going to be, peachy keen and there's never any disagreements. But I think it would be to buckle up, but also, get ready because it's literally the greatest ride of your life.
That's great. Aww.
I mean,
You guys are going to dinner tonight. All right, Megan.
I would have to agree to that because I feel like when you are in the newlywed stage, you see, everything's perfect, but in reality, you go through every stage of emotion. You lose loved ones, you have kids, like you have all these great things coming, and it's amazing to be able to share it with your best friend. So
Cool.
oh, you don't.
What would you say? Go back to yourself. 45 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I think it is important to put God first, but you also have to kind of make a commitment that you're going to honor your mate. And it really is when two become one,
Right. Yeah,
and that's the way you want it to stay.
it's good.
In 60 seconds, I think I would have to tell myself, this is probably the most important job you'll ever have.
Yes. Right. That's good. That's really good. What do you think, Kyler and Sarah? Wrap it up for us.
Well, I never really I feel like I've been with her since I've been alive.
Yeah,
And
right.
And so ever since I saw her when I was in French class when I was in high school, I've been obsessed with her. So
Yeah.
So I just never really, I don't know. I would tell myself the same thing.
Yeah.
The piece of advice I would say, the only thing I can really come up with when we first got married is when your wife goes to visit her grandma the first month you're married, don't buy a Corvette while she's gone. But other than that,
That's good. That's good
that was
advice.
probably the biggest fight of our marriage, and it was like the first month.
Yeah.
So
Okay, that's good.
I returned a Corvette, by the way, too.
Good job. Yes. Yeah.
The end.
What would you say,
I
Sarah?
don't have any advice for
Nothing?
myself. I don't know.
Nothing you'd say to yourself at the
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding.
You can't end on that. You can't end on that.
No. I don't have advice. I don't know.
Okay. I'm glad we brought you up here
I know.
today.
I've been really helpful. Really helpful.
Okay. I guess for me, I would go back, if I could go, one, kind of like Kyler, I would say go to Illinois when your wife calls you to go to Illinois. Do you guys remember that story where y'all judged me a lot? I remember that too. And I would say, hey man, you're just going to have to die to yourself. Just die to yourself and be selfless. Because if you go into marriage and you're selfish, it's just going to be really, really, really hard. But if you go into it thinking, I'm going to be selfless, and you both are selfless, I think that's when marriage is really at its best. And so, can we just thank them for being up here today? Thank you, guys. That's not an easy thing to do, and so I thank you guys for being up here. Thank you guys for being a part of this series. It's just been an amazing series. If you would like prayer after the service, we'll have some of our elders up front that would love to pray for you. If you're here and this is your first time or you're new, stop by Connection Corner. We have a gift for you we would love to give you. And if you want to figure out how you can get more connected at Crossroads, we would love to see you there. And don't miss next week. Next week, we're starting a new series called One Small Step. It's going to be all about one small step that you can take in your life that will make a huge difference for you and the people around you. So thank you guys for being here today. Let me wrap up in prayer, and then I'll dismiss you, okay? God.